Next Legacy.
Let us begin, my friends. This is Next Legacy Radio, Danaya Azure Radio. I am Charles alongside Danaya, a.k.a. Danielle. We are in the presence of music royalty. Not only has their family been instrumental in a lot of good, positive, beautiful music over the course of a very long time. I want to say decades, but timeless music is what it is. I want to welcome Roy, Heine, Rudy, original Jet members is here with us on Next Legacy. Fellas, how y'all doing?
Hey, good. We're doing great. Thanks for having us.
Listen, thanks for taking the time to hang out with me. So Danaya and I have some questions for you guys, and I want to also, just before I even do that, just say, thank you, because Danielle and I have plans on rolling out a very, very special dedication for the members of the Jets, and we're giving you guys and girls, obviously, you guys flowers for this reason. Just like I said earlier, for the timeless music and contributions that you guys and girls have made to the industry, we want to do it now. We don't want to wait till later, or we don't want to wait till it's too late, right? We want to make sure that we acknowledge that opportunity and say thank you for everything that you continue to do and that you've done for the business and giving us memorable music. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
So my first question off top is what I know the question probably, and I know Danielle knows it and the world probably knows it, but what is motivating you all to continue to do this? Because you guys have the hits. You can just continue to just fall back and just not even want to go out and perform or do anything. So you've won your championships, many times. So what motivates you to continue to keep doing this?
I think one of the most important motivators for us brothers, it's our families, and the fact that we can keep doing, and the smiles on people's faces, the joy that we can't believe it. We're so humbled. These people come to see us here in Vegas, and they just leave feeling really good, and that to us is just a big reward to feel that happiness that people have, and families. That's what it's about, just being together. But that's my take on it.
Yeah, it's in our blood, our sisters, ourselves, and we're on stage, kind of like Tom Brady, you can just keep on going. We don't feel like we're too old to perform. And like Leroy said, it's wonderful. It's always wonderful to perform for our fans, especially 30 years later.
Yes. Yeah. The other thing that we also talk about is we've been doing this for so long. We have all of our younger kids that are with us, and we want to kind of leave a legacy for them that our family can always be entertainers, and that's one of the reasons why we're here in Las Vegas, to build that legacy and also to go forward.
So tell the listeners, tell us a little bit about what you all are doing in Vegas right now, because Rudy, you and I, we've talked a couple of times, and you told me a little bit, but I want the people out there that's literally looking for memorable music and obviously performances by the Jets. Tell the people a little bit of what's going on in Vegas that people can go to on occasion.
Well, like Rudy said, we want to leave a legacy, and we had the opportunity to open a show here in Las Vegas. We thought it would be so neat, especially 30 years later, to be able to reinvent our show, and the show we did back in 1987, and bring that back to life, along with a bunch of our favorites of the 80s and 90s and people that we worked with back in the day. And we just wanted to bring that same energy and show this generation and their parents that, our music and the music of the 80s and 90s are still alive.
Right, and that's why we're kind of amazing ourselves, because we're on there jumping around. But if you do guys come into town, please let us know. We'd love to have you up in there, and having a great response. People are just loving this.
Especially if you missed us back in the 80s. We meet a lot of people that say, I never made your show, and we're so grateful because, they get to watch a tidbit of what our show was back in the day. I mean, literally with costumes, original costumes, original moves, and even some of the music. It's, we had to pull out the old wardrobe cases, and my mom was able to customize a little bit. I mean, we had to open up some of the jackets a little bit. We're a little wider these days.
Hey, but again, you can never take away the classic music and moments that you guys have put out there. Danaya Azure Radio, brought to you by Next Legacy. We have the original members of the Jets. We have Rudy, we have Arnie, we have Leroy. Danielle, go ahead and toss the question out.
Definitely. So, for each of you, what has been your most memorable moment of performing on stage?
Well, my most memorable moment was basically just seeing, when we were younger and we were dreaming about being on stage and finally being able to get up there and just meet Tina Turner for the first time, when we actually toured with her and when we saw Janet Jackson. It was just meeting all of our idols back in. I have so many memories, just great memories, because, again, my mom and dad told us when we were younger that if you work hard, one day you'll have that opportunity. And when we had that opportunity, those are my most memorable moments, was just meeting a lot of the celebs that I looked up to.
Yeah, mine was playing with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Hey.
Wow.
Okay.
Were you asking also what our memorable moments for being here in Vegas?
Yeah,
throw that out there
definitely.
too.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Well, just like my brother says, we've performed with some incredible superstars, idols of ours, but being able to just meet people here 30 years later, people who came to our first concert, where it was their first concert, that's pretty amazing for us that we're still alive and they're alive, and that we're able to meet here as well many years later.
Yeah.
I think it's important for a lot of people to know. And you mentioned, you brought up something very important. You guys are still here to be able to celebrate. We're still here to be able to talk about these memories. We're still here to be able to perform. We're still here, period. And I think a lot of people take a lot of things for granted in a lot of ways. It's just, some of it's human nature, for a lot of different reasons. Do you guys think that sometimes, as maybe media folks or even fans, sometimes we forget and sometimes take the contributions that you and others for granted on certain moments of our lives?
That's right. We're very grateful. We're missing a lot of people we grew up with and we performed with. From working with Prince, he's gone. From Michael Jackson, and then a lot of our peers that we toured with, like Force MDs. There's many of the artists, Zapp, Roger Zapp. There are so many artists that we performed with before that are not here. Beastie Boys, and we're just grateful, like you said, that we are still alive, and as a family that we can still, be able to perform.
I guess if the Rolling Stones can do it in the 90s, I guess we can keep going.
Amen. Amen to that. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right. Go ahead,
Absolutely. And the Jets are, I guess, here on Danaya Azure Radio. You talked about performing with some of the greats, and just I think the biggest thing is, what did you do as a family that allowed you to just remain grounded so that you didn't have a situation where you got out of control or got a big head? What was the main thing that you all did to keep yourselves grounded and humble?
I think that one of the main cues was our parents. My mom and dad came from the islands. We were a first immigrant family, and just that drive of being, the American dream was such a big thing to my dad and my mom. And, when they saw the Jacksons, the Osmonds, they go, man, I want my kids to do that, And then it was just crazy.
Yeah, and they traveled with us and toured with us, so they kept us grounded. It didn't matter where we went. We still had to clean, our bedrooms and things like that.
Right.
And, we were a family traveling as one, so that really helped us on the road to be able to just stay grounded.
Yeah, with them. We're so grateful for their influence and
Yeah, my father just passed away, and he was a great influence on all of us. And one thing about my father was, again, he just had this vision just to keep us together.
And if it wasn't for my parents, we wouldn't have been able to do this and stay the longevity that we have. But that grounding that they instilled in us and making sure that we kind of knew right from wrong and what we needed to do to, when we got older, it really helped us make some important choices.
Definitely.
And I think that means a lot, especially coming from, such a wealth of not just music knowledge, family values. You combine that, you put in a lot of, and I know with every family and with everything, with the business and everything, there's always highs and lows, ups and downs and all that stuff. But I think one thing that has always been important about the Jets legacy is that you take in that those moments when it comes to music memories, videos, or performances. You guys mentioned, not just being on tours with a lot of different, power people in the business, but just a lot of the consistency that has always stayed with the brand of the Jets is super important. Someone mentioned, Earth, Wind, and Fire, and bands are still, to me, relevant in this business. And I don't care what anybody says. I feel like, bands are needed. The unity that I feel like bands have is like no other. You can have a band, everybody working as one. It is the best blessing that you can all have. So when it comes to, just bands, and because we don't see enough of it nowadays, like, just talk to us and the listeners just a little bit about just how important it really is, because it really does create a unified, one love, one movement, one music at once, right, with everybody.
Right. Well, I'll tell you one thing. It is not easy. It's one of the hardest things to get, 8 people to come together. Of course, we're not a perfect family. We have our viewpoints, and we clash just like anybody. But you're right. That is the challenge, and we're just grateful that, we were able to, put it together, and
Yeah, I mean, here in Vegas, there's a lot of shows, but again, the difference now is that we're kind of like a throwback when there were bands, and when audiences come see our show, compared to a lot of the other shows that are here, there's a lot of track shows and a lot of magic shows and a lot of Cirque du Soleil shows, and we just love the fact that we can actually just get up there and play instruments, and we can actually sing and just kind of give the audience, especially those that grew up with in that era, they get to see that. Not only that, but the young people that come, they get to experience what it was like to have bands. Because, back in the day when we were struggling in Minnesota, the way we were discovered is because back in the day, all the clubs, it was all about bands. So when you go nowadays, all over the place, there are no bands. It's either a DJ or a track or something else. And so it's really fresh that we get to perform the way it was and also to convey that. And like I said, we're the only 80s, 90s experience kind of on the Strip. And that's been a blessing for us.
And we're not a tribute. It's not a tribute show. You're actually getting original members performing, which is it's way different having original members do that kind of show in Vegas.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Nine.
We go from Tuesday to Saturday every week. People don't realize we're here every night, one show, 5 nights a week, all the way till December.
Wow.
Oh. Yes, so book your tickets to go see the Jets live, right? Book your tickets to go see the Jets live in Vegas. Definitely get that for our holiday guests. Absolutely, because the holidays are coming up. So remember, they are there in December, which is going to be incredible. I know it was funny. I was watching, because I know somebody performed at Tequila Fest last month, and I was watching Charles' coverage of it, and I was just in shock because amazing. You guys are just incredible on stage, and so it was beautiful to see that. And to see the vibe and just like the energy was just like whoa, and it really did bring me back, because I was really young when you first came out, and so I didn't get to experience it the way that I get to now, and I'm just like, this is incredible for sure. You mentioned that you toured with Tina Turner and Janet Jackson. Like, what in the world was that like?
Wow. First of all, you know, when we saw Tina Turner, our manager took us to her concert, and then a week later told us that we were going to be her warm-up group in Iowa and some other areas, and it just blew us away to be on that same stage after just being blown away. For us, it was almost a dream come true, just being so amazed, being able to just meet the people that we watched on television and just loved.
Especially a real entertainer like Tina Turner, you know, that doesn't get any more real than that. You know, the lady has energy from it just never stops. I mean, that's how you learn from the best. You know?
We did a show with Kool and the Gang, and it was amazing too. Just the fact that we were able to kind of just sit there and just be blown away with all their hits, and then be able to also them coming to us and seeing how much they loved our music. That's what kind of blew us away, is other artists telling us how much they liked our show, and that was great.
Hey, listen, fellas, y'all just be completely transparent. Y'all are aging in reverse, just like Tina Turner, just like a lot of other people. Y'all still doing shows. Y'all still doing shows more than most people. You know, let me just get through this show, and maybe I'll do one next week or something like that. You guys are doing back-to-back shows on most occasions as well. So, come on, y'all are aging in reverse. And look, let me also say this, because most of you guys were very young when you first got started in the 80s, and your sisters are they started very young as well. So from a family standpoint, going into like a family business standpoint, when did you guys and girls figure out that, oh my God, we got something special? This is beyond special. When was that one moment, maybe two moments, that any one of you guys felt like, you know what, this is a whole different level than I ever thought?
Well, you know, when we started, us boys we were only like 8, 9, 10 years old, and our sisters were like 4 and 5, so they weren't really singing yet, but later in the bars, I think when we were teenagers playing top 40, we would invite our little sisters to come on stage, and we were only 15, 16 years old in Minneapolis. But I think the buzz was going around Minneapolis that this band was really killing it. And, that's when our first manager, we met up with our manager, Don Powell, and he saw that magic, and we felt it too, because everywhere we would play, it didn't matter. We would just get like standing ovations. People just loved what we were doing. And, it was just a good time with Prince and the time and the whole vibe of Minneapolis. It was just a great place to be in the early 80s.
Yeah. Right. We just happened to be at the right time at the right place, and it just, when Prince blew up, we caught that wave, that Minneapolis sound wave.
And there's no turning back after that now, because when you take a really good look at it, I mean, it was instrumental in, giving a new birth or a new life, if you will, to the industry where, in most cases you kind of need that. Like, every decade has a decade of, transition, I guess you could say. And I want to fast forward to today, 2021, and Danaya, when you're done with this, you could definitely ask a question in regards to it. But how do you guys feel now about just the evolution of music? Because we all grew up, and I think we're fairly close to, if not the same age or whatnot, where the days of records, I may be going backwards by saying 8 tracks or, tapes and CDs and waiting at Tower Records to be able to get that. Those moments I can never, ever forget, right? So here we are now. Yeah. It's all digital now. It's different. It feels different. So how do you guys feel about today's music?
I think our kids come up to me, hey, Dad, listen to this, and I mean, we appreciate a lot of it's a different kind of creativity. One thing I am grateful, because my kids get, hey, Dad, here's something fresh. I went, Bruno Mars, and they don't realize Bruno is kind of cut from our style, our. Hey, that's not new, son. That's actually from the 80s, and they go, what? I'm glad that Bruno's around.
Hey, listen, he was probably a member of the Jets without him even knowing that he was a member of the Jets. Y'all got a big family. Y'all got a big family anyways. He was probably like a cousin or something that you guys didn't even know.
No, we got respect for everybody. I mean, look at Drake. I mean, who would ever think that an artist would have 9 songs on the top 10? That was unheard of, you know?
Right.
Anyways, yeah.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Nye.
Definitely. So talking about the artists of today, who was one artist of today that you would want to collaborate with?
Wow. I think I would like to collaborate with like her.
Yeah.
You know, these real musicians that can actually play, you know, you just see their vibe and their musicality. She's one person that would be wonderful, you know, I wouldn't mind, you know, collabing with.
Yeah. One thing about my brother Heine right here, he had 14 kids, and they have a group called 13 Crowns. And so 13 Crowns, I mean, Heine's actually involved with a lot of the current sounds because he has kids that are now going up the charts. Working with Pooh Bear. And it's just amazing because, again, without that perspective, and the fact of the matter was it is very different. But when I talk to my brother and his kids who are now moving up the charts and doing things, it is very different than before because now it's all about the artist, it's about streaming. It's a different world in that sense, but it's a different challenge. And I just love the fact that I can turn up my brother and his kids, and they're killing it when it comes to this new generation.
And they have a reflection of you guys' accomplishments as well, and that should be a motivation factor. If I feel like this, and Heine, look, 13 kids. It just takes me back the moment. Listen, right. My grandma, God rest her soul, had 14 kids, and I don't know how she did it, but you know, especially nowadays, like, I mean, do you gotta buy like 13, 14 different iPhones and laptops and all that stuff? Like, how do you manage? Period. Just not even an extra question. How do you manage, my brother?
You know, that's why I'm here in Vegas. The wonderful thing is, you know, we work as a team. You know, like our brother said, that they're kind of a replica of the Jets. You know, my oldest 7 are the group called 13 Crowns, and they perform, and they, you know, they're all musicians as well, and they're just carrying on the legacy. And, you know, not only my kids, but Leroy's got 3 sons, and a couple of his sons are musicians and producers. So I think it's just all part of, you know, the legacy that we just want to continue to lead because we don't want it to die with us either.
Right.
Leroy, you only got 3? You only got 3? What?
Yeah. And my youngest son is the drummer of our show here in Vegas. His name's Evan.
Nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And Rudy has 3 as well.
Only 3 though. Not you're not going to get 10 more. Not 10 more.
Well, yeah, you got to check out 13 Crowns. They're a real band. Their music is just like the Jets, but current. Too current.
And their single out now is another song that was written by Pooh Bear. We had the opportunity to work with Audibles and Pooh Bear, and they were able to help produce a few songs. And so, yeah, we're just grateful. Actually, Grateful is their first single, and then they have a new song that just released a couple weeks ago, Together We Stand. So.
Amazing.
Okay.
The original Jets are here on Danaya Azure Radio, brought to you by Next Legacy. We have Rudy, we have Heine, we have Roy. Naya, go ahead, toss the question.
I mean, I think that in itself, what you talked about, you know, building the legacy with your children is awesome. You know, I think that the biggest thing is, when it comes to that, you know, what, you know, have you talked about them? Have you talked to them about like what their goals are? Are they looking to do like more movies in the music? Are they looking to more just be on stage more?
You know, I think our kids prefer the music. You know, that music is they grew up watching us play, go to all our shows, go on our tours. And that's what's kind of in their blood. It's music is what they love more than anything. I've not really got any inclination of any acting or anything like that. It's just music.
My kids are the same with my 3 boys. Yeah.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So
beautiful.
One of the questions I do have, and a couple more before we let you guys go, and I appreciate first off as well for you guys taking the time out to hang out with us while you guys are finishing up your show. So I appreciate it. But I will ask you all this, and I know you all may have different questions or opinions, but when it comes to music, not just counting the Jets' legacy and when you guys and girls gave birth to it, what is the best music decade for each and every one of you guys? What's the best decade of music?
For me, and I it might be biased, but I'm telling you, it was the 80s, because the 80s were you had, I think it was like the golden years. You had the 70s, the 60s, the 70s kind of going up, and the 80s was that pinnacle time period in my mind, because you had rap, new wave, rock, R&B, all just kind of coming together, and it was at its height, in my opinion.
And I would say 80s as well, because I think that's the era of all of the new sounds and, sampling and keyboards and all of that came to play mainly in the 80s. I know they started a little in the late 70s. They had disco and all of that. But I think the 80s were very unique. I think all of the artists that came out, people are sampling, hip-hop was the birth of hip-hop starting up early 80s, I believe. And, so I'm going to go with 80s.
Yeah, I like the 80s, but I also like the 90s and the thousands and the millennia time, just as I do a lot of producing. But, yeah, I like those 2 eras. A lot of good stuff.
Okay. That's fair. Now, you want to tell them what your favorite decade is?
Oh, it's definitely the 90s. Definitely.
90s.
There's so much variety. Mm-hmm.
Hey,
I think
there was
much variety for the 90s.
Listen, my love is always and will forever be. I don't care if it's decades in the future. I am an 80s guy through and through. Here's the reason why. The reason why, you guys have said most of it, but that was a year or a decade actually of diversity. Like, everybody was winning, not just rap and rock and light rock, R&B, jazz, you name it. Every genre was so blended in as far as the listening, the vibe, everything that called forth. And let's just keep it also real. The movie soundtracks are way better. And you guys know it too, right? Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Straight up. Absolutely. Now, you wanna ask them one final question. I already know what you're gonna ask them, but one final question tonight.
I'm gonna do a different one because they talked about their legacy already. So I want to know what's in your iPad. Like, what are you listening to on a daily basis?
I'll start. I have Dirty Loops. They're a musicians band, and that's one of my favorite all-time groups. Look them up, Dirty Loops. And I listen to a lot of jazz, Oscar Peterson, the high-lows, like a lot of those jazz from the 50s. That's me. That's Leroy. I love all kind of music, but when I relax, I listen to movie soundtracks, meaning John Williams. I love scores. I love Star Wars. I love all kinds of just, I just love orchestra music, which is weird because I enjoy listening to everything else. But when I relax, if you look at my music collection, it's a lot of just score music.
Yeah, with me, my playlists are all over the place. I've got like Circuses, James Arthur, Justin Timberlake, I got reggae in there, Tupac, Bone Thugs, Maroon 5. It's just all over the place, but I just enjoy everything. And I mix it all together. I don't know why my playlist looks like that. Spotify. But
yes.
One thing I love as we close that I can really and truly appreciate is the fact that, you can't, when you all are making music, and I want to send a shout out to the ladies. The ladies of the Jets always, bring it. Most definitely an integral part of the brand of the Jets, and just the memory factor, like I said earlier, the feeling that you get, like, fellas, and you know this, Danaya, you know it as well. Like, I love the fact that you can listen to a song, not while you're out dancing, but obviously if you're just chilling at the house or something like that, you can close your eyes and you can zone out to good music, right? And just that factor alone, and the fact that, what did you guys say, 30 years later? It doesn't even feel like 30 years later. That's how impactful music can be. And that's right. That in itself is a blessing, and that's something I'll never, ever take away. And, Rudy, I told you this. I interviewed and talked to Moana maybe, a few years back, and just alone, just the Jets and what they mean to music, and, and what they mean to us. Like, Danaya and I, we are huge fans, and it's just a surreal moment that we can have and share with you guys. And it's something that's going to last a lifetime, and I know the listeners out there will appreciate it, too.
We're very grateful. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
Danaya, any final comments and stuff you want to say to the fellas?
Absolutely. Just thank you. Thank you for taking out the time. Thank you for giving us time this record. Thank you for being in Vegas. So, like, next time I'm there, I definitely got to check y'all out because y'all are doing some amazing things out there. So,
when you come, we'll hook you up.
This interview is great because we're just kind of cooling off from being on stage, and we're all sweaty, but now we're all cooled down. And we're all good. It brought us back down to all of our heart levels down to a good heartbeat.
Some oxygen back here.
That's what's up. Well, fellas, I can't thank you enough. We will definitely honor your legacy by giving you guys and girls, obviously, heavy rotation. We're going to give you your flowers, well deserved, and we'll definitely keep the Jets legacy alive and all that good stuff. Because again, let's do this and not wait till it's too late. You know what I'm saying? Let's give flowers like it should. You know what I mean? So I can't thank you enough from the bottom of my heart. Seriously.
Thank you. Well, God bless you guys. We appreciate it.
We thank you so much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, fellas, if y'all could do me a favor, if y'all could just either say, together or individually, it doesn't matter if you guys want to put it together, be like, hey, this is the Jets, and you're listening to Next Legacy Radio.
Okay, let's do it. Legacy Radio? Next Legacy Radio. Next Legacy.
Yep.
Let's say your name, and then I'll say yours. Okay.
Right. Here we go. Yes, hi, I'm Leroy.
And I'm Heine.
And I'm Rudy.
And we're the Jets. And you're listening to Next Legacy Radio.
Yeah.
I love it.
That was perfect. Yes, I'm the first try too. Yes.
Listen, the Jets are one take people. They don't just go in.
Period. I love it. Yes.
Wow. Okay, well, take care. We'll talk to you soon, and we'll catch up later.
I appreciate you guys. Blessings to you.
Okay. Yep.
Take care.
Take care.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Next Legacy.